This is my first one.
You'll be fine.
You cannot do worse than me.
I think I can.
Well, if you do, I will give you
Just try your
time
best.
back.
Try your best.
And long pauses are always You got this.
What's your favorite color?
Purple.
Okay. So, you're a deaf writer who has moved to an isolated home in the woods in order to find peace. That peace is disrupted by a masked intruder appearing at your door one night. Home is supposed to be a place of comfort and safety, and when that security is infringed by an evil presence, it rocks our foundations severely. What kinds of items will you use to communicate with the outside world about your situation? How will you survive this masked intruder?
The fear of someone coming at the middle of the night. It is at the middle of the night, right?
Yes. It can be, yes.
What would I probably bring? I don't know. Probably a gun, if I had a gun.
Would you try to use the phone, or would you try to send an air pigeon, or...
Some smoke signals. I don't know. I'm a deaf writer.
If you're a deaf writer, can you think of some ways to be able to communicate with someone since you can't exactly hear on a phone? Or how about this? You're a deaf writer, but you have a neighbor less than 10 miles away from you. You know where they are. It's just a matter of getting those 10 miles to that neighbor to get that help.
I would just go out the back door and just go in my car. Well, I guess I couldn't drive, could I?
You could. I mean,
Well, I
even though
could.
you're in the middle of the woods, you could still have your vehicle there, like an SUV or...
Then it's over.
It does, yes.
Thank you.
One more? All right, we have time for one more.
Oh, no.
Elizabeth, are you doing all? Yes.
You operating a screwdriver. I love Butterfinger.
A 6, sorry.
666.
Okay. So, growing up with cats and dogs, you became used to the sounds of scratching at your door while you slept. But now that you live alone, it is much more unsettling because you still hear those same noises. What creature is outside your door? Is it real, fictional, or a figment of your imagination?
Okay, so I live at the Redlands apartment complex, which is near the University Golf Course. You can look it up, you can type in reviews, and if you're a freshman or if you're coming to college, you might ask yourself, where's a good place to look? Well, if you look at the reviews, you're going to find that there's roaches, problems with management, but it's cheap, so that's good. Now, where my apartment complex is, it's the very last one in the corner, and what borders it is that there's a forest. So my roommates don't border the forest, but I'm on the side that borders the forest. So like I always ask my roommates, have you ever had any problems with roaches getting in your rooms? And they always say no. So I'm like, okay, I'm the only one. Okay, so what happened was I was sleeping and I kept hearing little noises of things popping up in the room. And what I found out that they were stink bugs and they were roaches that were on the blinds. And it was awful because like I was just so terrified and I was so scared. So what I did was I went to Walmart and I bought so much poison. I swear, you go into my apartment, you're gonna die. I had to go to my girlfriend's house and like for a few days because like my poison, like it was like all around, like it was literally like Vietnam. Don't go to my apartment. But yeah, so I don't even know what I would do if that was the situation. But I know I'd probably leave my apartment.
And so that concludes our table topics. So on the ballots, timer, was everyone in time?
Everybody was in time.
That's good. All right, so on your ballots, you will find best table topics speaker. And there you can vote for your first and second choice. And please do vote for 2 people as they will matter in the counting process. And with that, I'll introduce our table top. Not the table Toastmasters. Our Toastmaster for the day this year.
Okay, so that concludes our second part of the meeting, my personally favorite part of the meeting. Now moving on to the third part, where everybody gets better. We take good criticism and bad criticism to make our speeches better, so we become masters of selling, like Zach said. So our general evaluator of the meeting is Adana. So please welcome Adana. Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm your general evaluator. I will be evaluating the evaluators and like the whole meeting and the people who had roles in the meetings. So I would like to introduce the first evaluator. No, wait. Do I introduce? Okay. I would like to introduce the first evaluator, which is Hali, and second evaluator, which is Daniel. I don't see a Daniel.
Oh, we switched it to Kyle.
Oh, Kyle, okay. And third evaluator, Elizabeth. Cool. And do I introduce the speeches? Yeah. First, evaluator Hali will be evaluating the speech that Zach did. Come on up. Yeah.
All right, an evaluation speech. I have not done this type of speech before, and I'm not really sure how it's going to go, so I'm mostly going to talk to Zach. All right, so the questions that it had laid out for me, for the most part, you went through all of them in a very nice order, so it was easy for me to move on down the line. Your unique showmanship. So you move across the stage with an element of power and control, and you use the desk, you leaned on the desk when you were talking to Tyler, you did a nice job kind of showing, this is my space, and I will take it. Your opening, I found it humorous, but not necessarily super powerful. I considered the opening, you kind of that bit before you really got to the first slide and sort of evaluated it there, where, you know, we kind of chuckled, but it wasn't necessarily something that was inspiring right off the bat, and you could choose to do that as you will. The system name, sell yourself first, is what I took away from your speech, and that you were really trying to emphasize that it is important as a salesperson to the people that you are training that you need to sell yourself as a salesperson before anybody will believe what you have to sell is of good value. So I think you made that relatively effective and known. You got your audience involved, so right at the very beginning, you know, your first slide, you're like, all right, what would you try to sell first? And we took our guesses and we were all wrong because we didn't know we needed to sell ourselves first, which was the point of your speech in this regard. You had Jessica as your confederate and or scarf seller in order to show us the buyer-seller relationship and how it, you know, it's very much, if she knows what she's talking about, she knows about the product, it's much more likely that you guys are going to be able to work as a team of sorts and make a sale happen. You also showed with Isaac and your want to buy a Rolex how if you've got a creepy seller, you're not going to have any buyers. You met objections primarily on the objection of price. So in your Toastmasters, this is what I'm trying to sell you. You said, all right, price is probably going to be your main problem here. And you countered that with the cost-benefit analysis, right? You're going to have way more benefit from this program then you are going to have cost, you know, for 4 semesters or what have you of Toastmasters, however long you do it. A note I would make is maybe use some more actual technique on combating objections. So maybe say, all right, because, you know, you are training your constituents, you're training people here, and say, okay, you can use redirection. Say, well, you know, yes, there's a price, but what about the benefit? And sort of talking about how we might combat objections. You had an effective close in your acronym, right? ACT, everyone can remember a 3-letter word and think, okay, here's 3 things that I've got to do, and you went through each one. I thought that was well done. I imagine our entire audience benefited from hearing your speech and now have an idea of how to sell something, namely themselves, before they try to sell something else. I didn't necessarily feel inspired to sell. I felt like I got knowledge dropped on me, and I wasn't quite ready to sell yet. But I could be ready to sell in the future. One more thing, keep your energy up, especially when you get to exciting points in your speech, in your training seminar. Remind us, yes, I'm pumped about this, because you were reminding us, but I didn't always get it in your body language. Overall, good job. I've got a grace period. Thank you.
Introducing the second evaluator, Kyle.
So my job was to evaluate Tyler on his speech entitled Wonton. And the goal of his speech was to tell a story and evoke emotion in the audience through his descriptions and his dialogue. And so I think he did a very good job of starting off by using the picture on the board of the cat. You know, we were easily able to, from there, picture the cat as a living animal in our heads throughout the rest of the story. And obviously, you know, who doesn't love cats? Who doesn't love little furry animals? So as Tyler progressed through the story, he kind of built a relationship of sorts with this cat, even though he had never pet the cat, he'd never met the cat, nothing of the sort. He just kept receiving all these pictures from his parents of the cat. I think his parents, he was able to develop their characters and show their caring and compassionate side from the get-go, just talking about how much they were texting him. You know, we all get these constant barrages of texts from our parents about one thing or another, but Tyler was getting them about this cat that he had no clue what, you know, who the cat was, you know, what type of cat it was, or how it related to his life. Obviously, his parents cared a lot about this cat, even not knowing it, knowing that it probably was diseased and kind of gross. But from there, he told us about the rough winter weather that it had to endure, and all of us were able to relate back to last year when that weather hit Georgia and affected our parents or us or whoever it may be, or we read about it in the news. And so we knew how harsh it was and how, you know, many animals and people died from it. And so we were able to understand how the cat might have died. And, you know, ultimately I was almost led to believe the cat did die, and, you know, it was a roller coaster of emotion. So I thought you did a great job of picking us up and bringing us back down, and then picking us up again for the, you know, the next winter weather, and then all of a sudden we think maybe the cat's dead again, but then it's not. And then we find out the cat, Tyler's parents provide a shelter for the cat, and little by little it becomes more and more a part of the family, and ultimately we see it sitting in Tyler's room, much to his surprise and maybe dismay at first. And then we see the picture of the cat with his dog, and it's one big happy family, and the cat has also become similar to Tyler's dog in that it waits for the family to return back as soon as they leave home. So all in all, great job. I would say the one thing that I would improve on is maybe really dramatize the conflict a little more, and just, you know, you talked about, oh, well, the cat might be dead. All right, you know, make us feel that, you know, make it kind of a, I guess, sadder story, if it is sad to you, but all in all, good job.
Alright, I would like to introduce the third and final evaluator, Elizabeth Ortega, and she will be evaluating Jessica's speech.
Okay, so I'm going to be evaluating Jessica, and Jessica is a veteran in public speaking. I am below a beginner, so we'll see how this goes. So her goal for her speech was to make the audience laugh and relate it to a personal story, which she did. And I did some research. So in order to deliver an effective humor speech, you have to really be aware of who your audience is, and that way because you want to create a bond with them. And I think you really did that because you talked about your Hell class, which is everything we can relate to, because I'm sure we all have that class that we hate the professor and not necessarily like them. And I really like how you talked about, or you referred to your professor as Professor Satan and his demons. And you started with that at the beginning and you ended that at the end. So I like that. I also like that your jokes were not like, it wasn't stand-up comedy. It was just you. So, and it was relatable to us. I like how you also spoke in third person sometimes. So you'd be like, Jessica, you can do this, or blah, blah, blah. So I thought that was effective. The humor I thought was very appropriate. And I thought that it also provided like an emotional relief to us. Like I know to me, like even if I had a stressful day, just listening to you, that like, really made me feel relaxed, and I loved it. So I also thought that your tone and voice, whenever you were pretending to be the professor, you changed your tone. So then that allowed the audience to be aware that it was, that it was a different person. I liked how you would, whenever you moved in time within your story, you would move from one position to another. So that allowed us to follow wherever you were going. The audience followed you. Also, your facial expressions and your sound effects were super effective. I really enjoyed those. Let's see. Oh, you used the props too. It's funny because I knew you probably didn't know there was going to be paper there or something, but you were prepared to have all of that there.
Absolutely.
So, okay. I liked how you had like the 84 already prepared on the board, so that way it didn't distract from you trying to write it on or whatever. The ways that you can improve, I have no clue. I think you're so good already. I think that you can just continue doing what you're already doing. I really liked how in the end you sort of ended with like, it was kind of like a rhetorical question because you referred back to your mom, but then you technically asked her, but we listened to that question, so I thought that was cool. Yeah. That's all.
Thank you.
Okay, I will be evaluating the evaluators. Haley, one thing I wanted to point out is that you were very confident in how you were providing that information to the staff. Very clear, and I could tell you thought out everything about it, so good job on that. Kyle, I like how you pointed out the relationship with Tyler and what the relationships that he was trying to form in his speech, and that was a good observation. And Elizabeth, I could tell you liked a lot about her speech. So I know it's really hard to like find at least one area that she can improve on, like because here we're here to improve ourselves, and there was barely anything. I couldn't find anything, but maybe if you look closer, you could have found something. I like how you pointed out that you did some research, and that was good. Also liked how you pointed out the emotional relief, and you got very clear to the point, as all the evaluators did. All of you guys explained it very well, and I liked it. You're supposed to also evaluate the Toastmasters? Okay. Toastmaster, very good. Loved your costume. Perfect. Hilarious. table topics, I could tell you thought out those questions very well. I had to think about them. I was like, okay, this is good. Very clever. And I like the little candy bag thing. Who else? Shoot. Who else do I evaluate again?
Reports.
Okay, reports from all counter, grammar, and timer. All counter.
Do I just stand here?
You can stand.
Okay. So starting from the top, Tyler didn't have any O's in his calling the meeting to order. Toastmaster had 8. Speaker 1, Zach, had 7. Tyler had 1 during his speech, and Jessica, I couldn't find any in her speech. Tricia had 4, and then for the table topic speakers, Isaac had 2, Haley had none, Aiden had 5, Kyle had 4, Bailey had 7, Yijin had 1, Lewis had 2, Jake had 2, and then for the evaluators, Anara, you had 4, Haley had 1, Kyle had 6, and Elizabeth had 4.
Okay. Grammar reports, Serena?
Okay, so there are a few things I want to point out, but overall the grammar was pretty great. So some people started over sentences, repeating the first word, that's pretty understandable. There were other people who also did run-on sentences, so just be cognizant of that. Additionally, when the Toastmaster was saying, he was introducing the evaluator and saying good and bad criticism, but I would suggest saying positive and negative criticism instead, just to be more specific about good and bad. Additionally, someone said and so in their evaluation, and I would suggest just saying and or saying so, because those are both conjunctions and you can just use either or. And additionally, the word of the day was used a few times and it matched the theme very well. Good job, guys.
Timing. We're all day about
Everybody was in town.
So make sure you vote for your first, second, and third. I think it was just one.
Just one.
Vote for your best evaluator. Yeah. And I'll be introducing Toastmaster.
Okay, so everybody, that was a great meeting. Thank you for clapping for me and letting me be in Toastmasters. It was a very spooky meeting. Please get treats. And now to introduce our president to the stage for closing remarks.
All right. Thank you, Nasir. Another round of applause for Nasir for being the first Toastmaster of the year to dress up an insane theme. So if you're Toastmaster today, you can always dress up any kind of meeting you want, and Nasir went all in. All right, so before we conclude, I have a few announcements and some deliverables to go after real quick. All right, so first things first, social media. All of our meetings are on YouTube, on UGA Toastmasters. And then we also have an Instagram with UGA Toastmasters Facebook page, GroupMe, everything. So if you're on any kind of social media, you can Google or just search UGA Toastmasters, you'll probably find us. And then Jessica has an announcement to make for our last meeting on Thursday.
Yes. Some heroes are born, others are created. Some people will give up a Thursday afternoon to come and attend a boring meeting on how to not have a boring meeting. And those heroes are here today with us. Here to receive the certificates are Serena, Tyler, Nitin is not here, but Tyler will accept this award on his behalf, and Liama. I would like you all to come up and receive your award in a very dramatic yet heroic way. I just want some pictures.
Oh.
Tyler Chan.
Screenshot.
Smile. Okay, thank you. Serena. Thank you. And Liama. I've known her for a year now. Thank you all so much for coming. We had lots of fun and we learned how to have productive meetings. Thank you.
So our Thursday meetings, they're completely different from these kind of meetings where it's very structured. It could be anything. It could be an entire meeting just table topics. It could be a meeting about meetings. It could be a meeting just about speeches. So we'll announce when those Thursday meetings are, but next one could be whatever comes to mind. If you have an idea, come to us and then we have a room ready for you that you can leave a meeting for. Also, we'll have a social for November, so we're going to have something revolving a way to get everyone involved outside of the meeting to get to learn about everyone, get to have a chance to interact with one another outside of just this meeting.
Could people hypothetically practice their class projects during this Thursday time?
Yes, that is also a really good time because let's say
Yes.
you have a presentation that's 20 minutes long.
Or maybe an hour.
Or maybe an
whatever.
hour. Then this could be a good opportunity for you to have a place to practice that. So Thursdays, 5:45 to 7, we have a room in Tate 137. So if you ever need it or you have any ideas, come to us and we can help you set up a meeting for it. And also, I wanted to announce that one of our former Toastmasters, Jason Khan, he actually got accepted to speak at the UGA TEDx event. So if you're going out to the TEDx event that's upcoming soon at UGA, you'll see our boy, Jason Khan, our former secretary. And then, now we'll move on to role sign up for next week and for other weeks if you want to sign up ahead of time. So would anyone like to be a speaker for the next meeting? Right now we have Zane, Serena, and Victor signed up as speakers. And here's our role sign up right now. There's also a link on our Facebook page to the Google Drive that has this role sign up. And now we have Vonade as Toastmaster today, Table Topics Nadia, and we have 3 speakers ready. We have room for another. Would anyone like to be a speaker for the next meeting? And if you're a new guest, you have the opportunity to present your first icebreaker about being a member first. That's something we're offering. EJ? Alright. What's your last name, by the way?
Mama.
How do you spell it?
M-A-M-A.
M-A. Oh, okay. Yeah. Anyone like to be a backup speaker in case anyone would have to drop last minute? Alright. Now, would anyone like to be the general evaluator for next meeting? That was Adama's role. Alright, Nasir. There you go. And then we need, because we have 4 speakers, we need 4 evaluators. So would anyone like to be an evaluator for next meeting? Alright, Tricia. Oops, I just there's the mic. Alright. Kyle? Alright.
Oh, that looks good.
And then Zach. Sweet. And then Jessica, you're a grammarian?
Sure.
Alright, and then we need an all-counter and timer. Haley?
I'll be the all-counter.
All-counter? Sweet.
I mean, somebody else can be grammarian and I'll be backup eval.
Would anyone else like to be grammarian?
Or not.
I guess you're grammarian. And then anyone likes to be timer? So timer was Jake's role today. Adana? Alright. And then, if you ever want to sign up for a role ahead of time, you can go on the Facebook page. This is a public Google Sheet, so you can access it any time from any computer, and then you can sign up there. So, Serena, do you have awards ready?
Yep.
Now we'll move on to awards.
All right, so let's start with our best speaker of the day. Let's give a drum roll. Jessica!
Shout out to the professor. I'll let him know about it. I want to speak.
All right, table topics ribbons have arrived. Woohoo! But there was someone who isn't in the meeting. All right, but our table topics winner is Ejin.
GoPro take a screenshot of everyone.
We just take a screenshot
Just take
after
a
the video.
screenshot.
We don't have to do anything.
Where are your certificates?
I do, but I'm gonna take a long time. Linda, you don't want to come up?
No, that's all right. I just want to see the class.
Good job.
Let me see how wide it is.
Oh yeah.
This captures all over there, so everyone is in frame.
Those are hands.
Sweet. Oh.
I can't. Yes, you have to be.
All right.
And
then
Even your watch matches.
Interfering with my body being captured in the camera.
all right.
I'll let him know about it. I want to speak.
All right, table topics ribbons have arrived. Woohoo! But there was someone who isn't in the meeting. All right, but our table topics winner is Ejin. And then for our Evaluator Day, we have Haley. Great job to everyone.
Awesome. And then before we conclude, can everyone gather in the front and we'll have the GoPro take a screenshot of everyone.
I didn't.
We just take a screenshot
Take
after
a
the video.
Automatically.
We don't have to do anything.
Bring your certificates.
I do, but it'll take a long time. Linda, you don't want to come up?
That's all right, I just want to see the class.
Good job.
Let me see how wide it is.
Oh yeah.
This captures all over there, so everyone is in frame.
Those are hands.
Sweet. Oh.
I can't. Yes, you have to be.
All right. And then
Even your watch matches.
Interfering with my body being captured in the camera.
all right. So we've technically taken like 100 photos. So one of them should be good.